The guy we will talk about in this video will be the key player in England breaking the major tournament drought in the next few years. No, not Jude Bellingham, although I think he will definitely have a big role in that as well. The player I'm thinking of is Cole Palmer of Chelsea, the best player for England, the best and most impressive player for Chelsea, and one of the top 5 players in the Premier League. He has the skills, the game, and, just as importantly, he has the right mentality and the personality to lead England to the promised land, either in the World Cup in 2026 or the Euro 2028, which, by the way, will be hosted by the UK and Ireland. In this video, we will examine this Chelsea and England superstar and why he is the player to watch for at least the next decade. How great is Cole Palmer playing right now? He recently set a new record for the most goals by a Premier League player in a calendar year with 26, breaking a record set by another former Chelsea great, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink, back in 2001. Hasselbaink said, "The boy deserves it. This has been standing for a long time, and it's time now that it is gone. There is no better player than Palmer to do that." Palmer is so good and still so young that I wouldn't be surprised if Palmer resets this record sometime in the near future. As of the writing of this video, Palmer, who moved to Chelsea in the summer of 2023, has 36 goals and 21 assists in 63 appearances in all competitions for the club. He also has 12 goals and 6 assists in this 2023-2024 season. And get this, he also has 52 goal contributions, or 34 goals and 18 assists in his first 50 Premier League matches. That is third all-time in Premier League history, behind only Erling Haaland, who had 64 goal contributions, and Andy Cole from back in the day, who had 57. Palmer is only 22, but is already starting to write his name on the record books. As great as Palmer has been thus far at Chelsea, he will become even better in the coming months and years. For one, Enzo Maresca, the Italian manager of Chelsea who took over last summer, is the perfect manager for him. He will make him more tactically aware and monitor his minutes to make sure he is not being overused. Palmer has not seen any minutes in the Europa League or the Conference League this season. Even though Palmer has been playing superbly, Maresca will not give him much breathing room and will continue to push him to improve. After the Fulham game in December, Maresca stressed the importance of doing more to stop being man-marked out of games. The Italian said he still has to improve things in those moments, especially because if you get frustrated, you lose your focus on the game. For sure, game after game, he's going to understand when they mark him man-to-man, how to move. However, there are other pundits who say Palmer has already made adjustments to the increased attention he has been getting from opposing defences. Last season, Palmer was still relatively unproven, but this season he is a marked man. Former England international Paul Merson has said that Palmer is having an even better season this season than his first season at Chelsea, because Palmer is still putting up outstanding numbers even though the opponents are doing everything they can to try to stop him. So, can you believe how much Palmer cost Chelsea when he moved from Man City 2 years ago? Just £40 million. If you think about the amount of money that Chelsea has spent the last few years on players who have been flops, £40 million is nothing. And to think that some people thought even 40 million was too much for a guy who was not a regular starter for Man City. That has to be one of the biggest bargains in the last 10 years or so in the Premier League. So why was a guy like Cole Palmer so undervalued and overlooked at Man City? Take a look at the way that Man City has struggled recently, and you wonder how much someone like Palmer could be helping them out. How is it that he never got any playing time there? Even Pep Guardiola has recently admitted that not giving him more minutes was a mistake. First of all, at a club like Man City, there is an incredible amount of pressure to win right away. Big teams like them don't have the time or the luxury to wait for talented young prospects to grow and fulfill their potential. You look at their starting lineup now, with the exception of Phil Foden, they are all players that established themselves at other clubs, and then they were bought by Man City. But in order to buy, they need to sell and raise cash, and also stay within the financial fair play rule. That's where the younger players like Palmer got sacrificed. According to Transfermarkt, Man City have made £363 million since 2014 by selling homegrown talent. They have sold their fair share of young players over the years. Good young players like Morgan Rogers, Michael Olise and Romeo Lavia, who have all been sold to other big clubs. But those three haven't quite hit the ground running like Parma has with Chelsea. They also were probably not going to see playing time at Man City had they stayed. Man City also have Phil Foden, who is also left-footed and is similar in style and the position they play. Maybe Pep thought that he had to choose one over the other and chose Foden, but I sometimes wondered if there was a way to play Foden and Palmer together. Foden has more of a playmaking role and plays a bit farther behind, while Palmer, who can also fill that role and do it well, is more of a finisher and plays more up front. Foden is more of a midfielder and Guardiola has played him that way, especially when Man City have injuries to guys like Kevin De Bruyne. I think the other reason why someone like him is overlooked in today's football world is because Palmer's best attributes have little to do with what scouts and pundits tend to look for nowadays. Palmer is a player with skill, technique, a feel for the game, the ability to read the game, and the development of the offence, the intangibles, all things that were more valued 20 or 30 years ago or so, but not as much now. Even former French great Zinedine Zidane, one of the greatest players of all time who played in the 90s and the 2000s, said, "Today's football is more physical. Back in my days you could make up for a lack of physicality with technique, but nowadays it would be more complicated." Today's scouts care more about physical characteristics, like how big, strong, fast or durable you are, or how many miles you run while you are on the pitch. These things didn't matter as much a few decades ago. But that is how the players are judged and scouted nowadays, and where the emphasis lies. Palmer is a tall player, but not the most physically imposing player. His best traits are technical rather than anything physical, but this is not his fault, and Palmer will be just fine. Regardless of what club or country you root for, just remember this. There are a bunch of great young players in football right now, but none are better than Palmer and Lamine Yamal of Barcelona and the Spain national team. Football is in very good shape for the next 10 to 15 years because of guys like Palmer and Yamal. Palmer is very similar to the Barcelona and Spanish teenage star, as both are left-footed, play slightly on the right side, and their favourable move is to cut inside from the right side and unleash a shot. They were both two of the best players at Euro 2024, and they will be two of the players to watch in the next 10 to 12 years or so at least. They already play at big clubs, and they will only get better. The only things that could stop these two guys are overuse and injuries. Yamal has had his injury issues this season thus far, and let's hope that Palmer does not suffer the same fate, and that he can stay healthy for the rest of the season. Palmer is also similar to Chelsea legend Arjen Robben. Remember him? Robben also was a left-footed player who loved to dance down the right side of the pitch and look for the opportunity to cut to the inside and unleash that shot headed to the far upper corner. Now, Robben never scored as many goals as Palmer is doing now, but their styles are very similar. Palmer is definitely carving his niche as a team leader. A leader or a captain is someone to whom the other players on the team will look to in times of need or difficulty. Obviously, Palmer has the skill level and the production already to command a certain level of respect from his teammates. Plus, someone like Palmer, who is calm under pressure and doesn't show a lot of emotion, will be a perfect fit for future captain. You don't get a nickname like Cold Palmer for nothing. He is very cool, especially when matches become tense. Argentine Enzo Fernandez is the captain of Chelsea for now, but years down the line you can bet that Palmer will one day be the captain of Chelsea and perhaps England as well. Palmer supposedly has a contract with Chelsea until the year 2033, and it is highly unlikely that he will go anywhere else anytime soon. Palmer is originally from the Manchester area and apparently grew up a Manchester United fan. Former Man United defender and Holland international Jaap Stam claimed, "You do wonder how Manchester United missed out on him," but also added that the way Palmer is playing and progressing, he might one day be worth £200 million the way he is going. He is probably right because the sky seems to be the limit for Cole Palmer. If you enjoyed this content and would like to see more like this in the future, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also leave a comment below and let us know what you think about Cole Palmer, the resurgence of Chelsea this season, or anything football related in the section below. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.